37% believe that men cannot be expected to stop sexual activity if a partner changes her mind. 55% of respondents believe that a woman who dresses provocatively is partly to blame if she is harassed. Makes you feel, Singapore men are like damn fucked up lah.
I think the Men Too movement is also commissioning a survey about masculinity as well, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll see what results come out there as well.
But hopefully it's not them trying to out-research each other lah, you know?
Is it really just down to what they're wearing that makes it feel like vulgar and all? Because there are other dance groups that also do quite funny, peculiar moves around Singapore, but haven't faced this kind of backlash lah.
Can you imagine the next 𝗧𝗍𝗃 safety video? They're going down the aisles like this.
When we start policing certain things of what people can or cannot wear and all, that's where, to me, it starts getting a bit like... Have you gone to a buffet and noticed the types of people there? The 𝗘𝗍𝗃𝗀𝗀𝗀 auntie who takes only the most expensive ingredients? The sneaky uncle who starts at the other end of the table, acting blur to cut the queue? Yep, lots of interesting characters at every buffet, but none more interesting than those at Choo's Masquerade Party, a hilarious comedy theatre show from the producers of Dim Sum Dollies and starring Broadway Bing, Sebastian Tan and Vernetta Lopez. You enjoy a delicious full-blown buffet dinner at the Capitol Kempinski Hotel while the family chaos unfolds around you. I experienced it myself and it's a great night out. For a limited time, they're running a 1-for-1 deal for tickets at the link in the description, so don't miss out. And now, onto the podcast.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Yala, your thrice weekly podcast where we talk about the hottest news with a touch of what, Terrence?
Good old humor.
Good old humor, man.
Yeah.
End of the week episode. Yeah. So, how does it feel? The next episode, will it be September already on Monday?
No, not yet. It's 31st.
Oh, 31st.
Yeah. We're still in the throes of National Day and National Day rally.
Feels,
Yeah.
National Day feels.
Till the end of August, lah. Right?
Yeah. But how? It's also 𝗘𝗍𝗃𝗀𝗃 everywhere.
Hungry Ghost Month.
Hungry Ghost Month.
Yeah, that's right.
Are you doing any Hungry Ghost? Is it not celebrations like it's prayers?
Yeah.
Festivities?
No, nothing for me. But I see it everywhere around, temple next door and everything.
Yeah, correct. But I mean, still, this month feels a bit like, June, July, there was like a lot of like political news and all.
Yeah, and
it's National Day lah.
The National Day rally and a bunch of local films also coming to the forefront and all.
Yeah.
So a lot to take in the last couple of months to talking about Singapore.
Yeah.
And the debates about the National Day rally and stuff are still going on.
Still going on, man.
Even off the last couple of episodes where we talked about stuff from the NDR as well, right?
Yeah. Some people in agreement, some people in disagreement.
Yeah, and a big divide, I would say, between perspectives. Quite surprising to me, Quite surprising to me.
Why? What's surprising?
There's quite a lot of debate about singles versus the married people and all that.
Yeah.
So what the immediate day or two after NDR felt like, generally it felt quite positive, right, in terms of the government essentially saying that it's going to make a compromise between growth at all costs and family life in Singapore, right?
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, generally feels positive on it. But I think the last couple of days, a lot more focus has been the divide in the workplace between singles and married people.
Yeah.
And people starting to really dig the trenches and dig in on both sides.
So you're surprised at the extent at which this debate is going on?
It has suddenly felt much more negative than what the original intention of the announcement and all that was. The clapping every 5 seconds and all that. Now it's starting to feel very negative, the whole discussion.
Which is quite surprising because the NDR, my initial thought was okay lah, a bit muted. Yeah, some announcements and all, but it is surprising lah.
Yeah.
And in some way, a little scary also how polarizing it's becoming, because you see the polarization for so many issues, one of which we're going to talk about also.
Yeah.
But now it's one of those things that you never hear, right? Singles against married.
Yeah, it's the new battleground.
So you cannot talk about importing all these differences though. This is from Singapore, man.
Yeah.
I don't know whether other countries are facing this also, but man, oh man.
I did not foresee this level of vitriol between the two groups, right? And vitriol in the sense of course, we're hearing maybe a loud minority or something, but I also see a lot of discussion from more moderate voices, taking sides on this issue as well. And it kind of reminds me of, I think, some discomfort I felt sometimes when going for some of these panels and all, where I'm placed there as the majority representative, Chinese person and all that. And when I try to say, hey, I have my problem is not so much about the treatment of different races and all that. My bigger problem is that we are generally just losing a Singapore identity. And everyone gives me this very dirty stare. I'm just trying to brush past differences between races and all that, and trying to shift the debate towards Singapore versus the rest of the world. But I genuinely feel like the last 5 years or whatever, that has become a more existential crisis that will threaten what it means to even be a citizen here.
So I can imagine the people rebutting you are coming from the angle that you are erasing the minority identity.
Yeah. That the Singaporean identity, we don't even have time to talk about that yet when, between races, there's so much more to talk about.
Then now you married parent. Again. You privilege your whole life. First Chinese, male, now parent. Wow, the intersectionality of your privileges is astounding, Terrence.
Yeah, so I just added a new one really, being married, being a parent, married with kids. That's a new privilege.
New flex.
The new privilege that I was blind to before.
Yeah. I'm glad you realize now.
Yeah.
But we're going to be visiting one of those privileges today.
Correct,
especially.
Definitely.
In the first topic, which actually came out in the news about a week ago, and it is a recent survey done by Aware. That surveyed more than 1,000 males in Singapore. That it was on men's attitudes to gender, family, and society in Singapore, and some results are quite surprising quite interesting, quite, I wouldn't say scary, but a signal for this is actually happening in Singapore. Just off the top of my some of the more interesting stats, basically, okay, so when it comes to how, let's say, the beliefs that naturalize male sexual entitlement, apparently 33% believe men cannot control themselves when sexually aroused. 37% believe that men cannot be expected to stop sexual activity if a partner changes her mind. When it comes to victim blaming attitudes, 55% of respondents believe that a woman who dresses provocatively is partly to blame if she is harassed. And 67% believe a woman who flirts bears at least some responsibility of what follows. And there's a few more stats, but yeah, those kind of stats, you're like, oh, that's interesting.
And those form a big part of the more rage-baity or clickbaity headlines, right? Obviously on Stomp, they literally put there 55% of men believe women who dress provocatively are partly to blame if harassed. So definitely that drew me into looking at this survey and all. But I just want to, before we start, I just got to point out that, this morning when we were thinking about the topics, right? I think between you and I was the only one that saw this as something we got to, cover. So I brought it up. But you were completely blind to this survey commissioned by Aware. It completely blew past it in spite of all the AI and everything you used to look for topics. You did not consider something from Aware as worthy of talking about, right?
Yo, man, that is a pot shot, okay? There is this understanding that in the mornings when we have to decide the topics and research, we cover each other's gaps. Doesn't mean that it is an actual gap in terms of how we're thinking, because I always thought there was some trust,
let's just. I was color me surprised that because usually you over
deliver.
You have a lot of topics.
Over deliver.
You have a lot of things there, but there's just one big one in the room that Harish just never look at or what. A surprise, color me surprised that it was an Aware survey.
So let me clarify. I don't know why it missed it, because when we were deciding, it was unequivocal for me that this is a topic worth discussing. All right. So at the end of the day, the result was the same.
Yeah.
All right. The way the sausage is made, it can be not a good analogy. But yeah, wow, that was a harsh judgment, man.
It was just quite interesting how. It's like, I think you sent like 6, 7, or 7
I
topics.
said like 3 lah.
None of them
three.
were like related
I said
to this.
3. I said 3. Yeah.
But yeah.
So in the end, we did decide without debate that this is the topic to talk about lah. Thanks, Terence, for setting me off on the wrong note.
But yeah,
you know, your highly evolved and cultured self, for you, this was definitely something to talk about.
Somehow, yeah.
And why? Why?
I mean, I think the survey is quite interesting. It is a very good starting point to talk about differences, right? But it points to something that has been an age-old discussion about men's entitlement to sex, right? Whether in relationships or even our relationships and all that. But what made it such a something that you know, like you said, like you really wanted to address in the topic today?
I mean, I think the one trend that seems more apparent is that when you think about things like traditional gender norms, right? At home. So basically, if you look at the respondents that age, I think from 18 to 55 plus, the overall stat, I think it skews towards, more men believe that the roles should be shared.
Yeah.
Which, paints a good picture for Singapore. But the shocking thing for me was the age group of 18 to 24 have the highest belief that there should be traditional gender norms at home.
Yeah.
And you see that age thing crop up across other things as well, that point to them actually being more conservative, more traditional, more along the lines of, the manosphere.
Yeah.
But then that I found them surprising.
Yeah. You would think that it was the boomers who believed that, right?
Yeah.
But surprisingly, it was the young people who came up highest in those scores.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the same time, I think Dr. Matthew Matthews, who's been a guest on Yellow, he did raise a very good point, right? That, I mean, firstly, that this is just one survey and the methodology and all that, you got to examine how the questions are phrased and everything. So this is just one survey. It's a good starting point, but it's not 100% foolproof either. But secondly, he was also saying that maybe it's just also that young people, 18 to 25, don't have as much experience in terms of living or managing their own household and understanding what it means to contribute to a household, right? And so their experience comes from vicariously, through social media or seeing how other people do it, rather than they themselves understanding that what it takes to actually run a household, right?
Yeah.
So in that sense, they're saying that young people not as experienced, so they have these perceived notions about running a household.
Yeah, and that they haven't been married or, seen the need to contribute more. I was going to make a joke, but I don't know whether that would be...
Please, try it, Harish.
No, it's okay. I will leave that out for the purpose of this discussion. But I mean, he also mentioned that to cut the younger folks some slack, he also said that, yes, they're more traditional when it comes to this specific question, but when you look at other things that they are surveyed, so apparently that same age group, they are less likely to say that men should have priority when jobs are scarce, that boys' education should be prioritized, or that mothers working will harm their children, which are all more progressive. So I think just to make clear that we are not singling them out for being conservative incels or manosphere lovers. But regardless, that one statistic did stand out. And you see that age thing about this whole belief that, I think it's very easy to say that, there's a lot of traditional conservative thinking that still is commonplace in society. But once those older generation get removed from positions of power, once they, are not with us anymore, the younger generation will make things more equitable and equal. But this does not hint at that.
Doesn't track.
Which is, I mean, you see that whole conservatism getting more traction in other countries. So it's not surprising that it's happening in Singapore also.
Yeah. And I think They also, I mean, part of the reason why this also, I read this with a lot of interest is because, my kid going to school and everything soon, right? Primary 1 and all. And I have a lot of debates with other parents, other married people with children who
Other privilege
who don't contribute at the workplace and take advantage of the privileges.
Yeah. On your holidays now with your more childcare leave.
And there's still a lot of debate about co-ed versus single schools, right, in Singapore, and the kinds of norms that they promote in each school, and I don't know, it's still something that I think a lot of debate going on. There might not be a completely right answer, but when I look at data like what's in this survey, it kind of tells me that actually, why is it that there's suddenly this reversal in the trend of more liberal attitudes towards gender inequality and all that, but now it seems to be going the other way. So what is exactly going on in schools? Because I thought schools were all starting to preach to be a bit more equality between the genders and all, and then more, more civility, especially when talking about the other genders and all. But maybe it has backfired.
Yeah, I mean, I saw there's a lot of chatter online, especially on Reddit, and depending on which subreddit you go, you can kind of guess which direction it heads.
Yeah.
But there was one person who brought up an interesting point about how, there is a lot of discussion about how women can have a role in the workplace over the past few decades. Has it reached a point where it is truly fair and all? Probably not.
Yeah.
There's a lot of discussion. But conversely, there hasn't been enough discussion about the man's role at home. So it's almost like the sentiment is that the men's role is being threatened, and I say it in air quotes, but also they're not given the recognition for what they do at home. And I mean, I think as we have had, people like Danny Leung, the founder of the Men Too movement, which I mean, still think not the best name, but what he discussed is something that's true. The younger men around the world, not just in Singapore, are facing more stress.
Yeah.
They are having higher rates of suicide. They are struggling. And something about society has not kept up with their struggles.
Yeah. The male loneliness epidemic.
It's true. It's real. It's real.
And I think the survey still bears out as well that there's a very high number, more than 55% of men who they feel that they can't talk about their feelings because it makes them look weak, or feel like weak if they were to talk about their feelings, which is quite shocking, right? It means more than 1 in 2 men actually have that feelings in Singapore.
And 70% hide emotions like fear, sadness, or stress.
Yeah.
And 64% feel pressure to meet masculine ideals.
But do you feel like talking about your feelings is very taboo for men?
I would say, I don't know whether it's taboo, but it's definitely not common. And I would say even for me personally, until I met my wife, I think it wasn't the easiest even to discuss with her. And
you mean talk to a woman about your feelings, is it?
My partner.
Like to be vulnerable, basically.
Yeah.
But with other men, okay?
Other men also not as much. Not as much. Maybe close friends.
Yeah.
But I think what I learned from my current relationship is that actually it is important, and it just sometimes you just need to vent. You just need an outlet.
Yeah.
And you don't need a solution, and you just talk more.
Yeah. And it's more cathartic that way, right?
It is. But it took me a while to understand that.
Yeah. But so you're kind of saying that it took you having a wife and being married and all that.
In a long relationship that was a good relationship and all to understand that.
Where sort of all your vulnerabilities and all that are exposed already, and no need to have a wall up or anything.
I mean, in some sense, what you're saying, because the relationship was stable, it was easier to be vulnerable. I think that's true.
Yeah.
But even for me personally, even outside of that relationship, just understanding that, hey, actually, things like you admitting you make a mistake and all is not that bad.
Yeah.
But it took me a while to realize that.
And then before that, you were very must be man about it.
Yeah, must be man.
Very binary.
I mean, you know me for such a long time.
Yeah. It's very. We had to deal with a lot of that stuff early on, knowing you, lah. They're very binary set.
Binary. Hey, you also not perfect, lah. Okay, you also not perfect, lah. Okay, but yeah. So for me, there was a change, and I look back also. I'm like, okay, lah. Maybe I could have been more empathetic here. Maybe I could have been more honest and just not worry about admitting that I got stuff wrong.
Yeah. I think and maybe that also comes with age, right? Just for me, it's just sort of like understanding that people can have very, very different perspectives or very, very different reads of the same situation that you're looking at, and it's a lot of intersection, a lot of different kind of experiences in your life that lead you there, and very hard to judge people entirely based on just because they disagree with you on something, right?
Except when it's me, then
you're
free to judge.
Yeah, free to judge.
Everything I do, everything I leave out, also you judge.
Because I think I've had a very big part to play in, like, softening the _J Thilani and being less of a, the manly
sometimes you also
jock
contribute to the problem, okay?
No, but I mean, but you see, because we share quite a lot of similarities in our educational background, I kind of understand a lot of where these things come from, right? The jock culture, and then the whole raffles culture, and the circles that we're in also, right? So in that sense, I can empathize a lot, and it takes it's not easy to, even like for a guy to find another guy to vent to, and for that other person to trust the other person to not make a mockery of like your feelings and things like that. It's not easy, It's not easy. Yeah. But even amongst men, right?
Yeah, and it's still not, And I mean, that's why it's nice to see the rise of like men's only groups. But it seems like it's still a problem. It's still a sentiment that is there. And even the thought of joining a men's only group, I can imagine there's a stigma,
Yeah, a little bit,
Yeah.
But I mean, besides the stuff about like men's roles and their feelings, does it shock you about the male sexual entitlement, where it seems like more than 1 in 3 people feel that, if I get aroused, I cannot be expected to control myself, right?
Yeah, so that one is a bit weird,
Yeah.
And I mean, it's across all ages. But that number was higher than I thought,
Yeah. And how about the whole victim blaming thing, where more than half of respondents think that, if a woman is harassed, she's partly to blame if she's dressing provocatively. Sorry.
Yeah. So that one was when I heard the number. So that one I found like, actually 55% is quite high, It's higher than I thought.
Yeah.
But then I was thinking about it, because I have a daughter, right? And she's almost 2. And I think I've realized how parents say, they can imagine themselves killing someone if they do any harm to their kid. I feel that very strongly now. And if something happens in future where, for whatever reason, she's harassed and all, and she dressed a certain way, would it be that clear cut to me that it's not your fault entirely, and it is that person? And I mean, I think it's an easy thing to say that, of course, it's not their fault. But I was thinking the conversation I have with my daughter, if she wears something like that, I think naturally I would say, okay, you sure you're going to wear something like that to that place? I don't know. Maybe I'm not evolved enough to say, okay, you wear whatever you want. These kind of things won't happen to you. So that's why this question, I mean, I think there's a lot that is that's making it kind of binary. Of course, you can agree, strongly agree, disagree, slightly disagree, prefer not to say. So that's why I think, that question is very complicated.
Yeah. I think I saw already a comment where someone's saying that the word partly to blame is doing a lot of heavy lifting, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a sense of like, maybe someone who reads a statement, maybe might not even be thinking so much about blaming the person for what happened, but just sort of like understanding why it happened. Is like, I mean, an analogy they say is like, if you wear gold chains and you walk down a dark alley in some shady neighborhood at night, right?
Yeah.
Obviously someone's going to say that, hey, there's a consequence to doing such a thing, right? As much as we want to say that it's not your fault that you got robbed or whatever, but there could be a consequence. So even the statement that partly to blame might be
very
more all-encompassing than we actually think it is, right?
Yeah, and it makes you feel Singapore men are like damn fucked up because I think you can also differentiate being like, let's say if you change it to increase the likelihood,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you agree with them being harassed.
Yeah.
And I think what changed was thinking about, like, let's say, my daughter or family member, it's almost tough to like warn them that this kind of things will happen.
Yeah.
So, and that's where I think it gets very tricky, because if you just look at that title, I remember when I saw it, I was like, wow, that's shocking. But then when you look at it, when you read certain perspectives that people bring out and all, it's more complicated than that. But I can imagine people even hearing what I'm saying and saying, how can you ever ascribe any blame to the woman?
Yeah.
And that's where it gets tricky.
But so that's where the word blame, I think, it's doing a lot more than just what we actually think its scope is supposed to be, right? I think what your point about increase the likelihood of it is some people who answer might be thinking of that, right? As opposed to like particularly about saying that it's the victim's fault, right? But then I mean, there's also other things that also seem to paint the whole population of men in quite a bad light, right? Like about 2/3 of people saying that a woman who flirts bears at least some responsibility for what follows, right? So if a woman flirts with you and then after that, as like 2 out of 3 men, if you flirt with them and then after that you turn around and say, I don't want anything more to do with you. This survey is like indicating that men think it's their fault. It's the woman's fault if something happens with them after that. Do you feel that is also shocking?
I mean, again, like, so the word is if she is harassed. So that's where I feel this one, I think you can argue that if someone flirts with you and you flirt back, I mean, that feels like it takes 2 hands to clap. But I think this one, in this scenario, I feel like, okay, this is less, how you say, it's harder to put blame on. And if someone flirts, I don't think she can be blamed if she's harassed.
Yeah.
That's how, or maybe I would say I would slightly disagree. I think I wouldn't say strongly disagree, because again, the word blame and all, there's so much weight to that.
But the word that I'm having more trouble with is flirt. Because flirt,
what is flirt?
Is flirt? I think historically in my life I've been pretty bad at reading like this kind of signals and all that, right? I'm bad at flirting. Not as good as you. I think you're the master. Your WhatsApp game very strong and all that. Right? But I've been historically quite bad at it. So just trying to understand the extent of what flirt is also made me think about how did people who were responding to this survey think flirt means, right? What do they think flirt means? So I think flirting, there's a whole spectrum to flirting also, right? And that's where sometimes as a guy also it can get quite difficult to understand what the signals exactly are, right? If someone no means no, but when people read a question like this and you don't know what they think flirting means, for you flirting is like WhatsApp, it's like the finger like going on WhatsApp, right?
No, flirting can take many shapes and forms. And like you, I have thought so many times in the past that someone's flirting with me when they weren't, and some that they weren't flirting with me when they were. So as opposed to like dressing provocatively, right? I think that one is a bit more. You can almost imagine, okay, you show more skin and all that, but just flirt. So that's where this kind of questions, I'm like, The interesting thing is, if you look at the survey results, they break it down by age group, by household income, by education level. So I think the more important thing is the trends. Because you can assume that, okay, these words can mean many different things, but it's helpful to look at the different trends. And that's where, I mean, they're fairly consistent. I think if you look at marital status, maybe the married, single in a relationship, they tend to disagree a bit more. So almost feels like it's less about their own ideology, but how much of life they have experienced.
Correct. But I mean, even between you and me, like, we have differences about some of these definitions, right? Like, I think we've had a very big debate about whether going out and doing like sporting activities like rock climbing together or something like that, do you like, that's a date? But to me it's like, that's just doing like activity together. It's like activity friends, you remember?
But that one has so much nuance. It can be a date.
Yeah, yeah. So to me, when it comes to like sporting activities, it lean more towards like, oh, it's just activity friend, right? But for you, it's like, oh, there's
No, man, I
dating element to it.
totally think even going for a walk, hike, it can be a date.
So yeah, that's why we differ.
we differ lah.
That's why I say
So
the
last
word
time when you
flirt
date,
was
it's always
different.
dinner, movie first time. You never been on a hiking first date or a walking first date?
No, never. Yeah,
Really?
Never. Yeah, really. Yeah. So yeah, I see our differences in life experiences and our expectations for things. Also,
You're very conservative lah.
okay lah. I mean, maybe. But that's why, we had come from different experiences, and we look at something. You tell me you went rock climbing with someone. I'm like, oh, okay, that's nice activity. You're like, wow, what a great date. Then I'm like, huh, what date?
Or like tree climbing.
Okay. Oh yeah, exactly. That's my point. Yeah, I didn't want to raise tree climbing. I was just using rock climbing as an example. Yeah. But for me, when I look at it, I look at the context of the two people hanging out. Right? Is it a larger activity? Is it public, big public space or what?
Yeah.
Then I consider that.
Because
like a date.
conversely, you can go for dinner with someone of the opposite sex and it not be a date.
Correct.
Yeah. So I think it kind of goes both ways lah.
Correct, it goes both ways.
Maybe you were on a lot of dates last time.
Yeah, and I didn't know.
Player though, Terrence.
I go for so many walks and I never knew that they were all like, wow, angling to
Likewise,
date me.
I've been on a lot of dinners where I thought it was a date, but it wasn't.
Yeah. So, our different life experiences lead us to different conclusions about different interactions with people.
Yeah.
And that might actually skew your answer to a question like, oh, is this person flirting with me, right?
Yeah. But what about sexual entitlement? Because that was another thing that you pointed out at the start. A man cannot control himself when sexually aroused. About 33% lah.
Yeah.
Said that they agree or slightly agree, strongly agree lah.
Yeah.
Was that higher than you thought?
Yeah, it is higher than I thought.
Yeah.
I also again thought that, generally the concept of consent and no means no, and no at any time means no, right? I thought that has become a bit more commonplace or mainstream, right?
Yeah.
So I'm quite surprised to see these results.
Yeah. So also and this one I feel is very problematic because if you agree, then you're almost kind of giving yourself a free pass lah. And these were men filling out the survey. I don't know whether there's converse surveys for women when it comes to these kind of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one was after even thinking about it, I was quite surprised that 1 in 3 men lah, basically.
Yeah. But I think early on in our dating lives and all that, I think there was some literature or books that you and I both read about dating and all, which kind of opened our minds to just understanding how men and women communicate differently when it comes to dating, right? And in more recent times, I've had friends who talk about their dating experiences, and I realized that maybe that some of them are still there's still this gap of how they communicate to people that they're dating, right? Where they feel almost like, I don't understand what basically like a guy saying, I don't understand what this woman is, why she's treating me like that, or why she's rejecting me, right? And then when I see how the exchange has happened, I realize like maybe he hasn't had that chance to really understand the gaps in communication between men and women lah. Not saying that he's a bad communicator or what, but it's just something that also came to me, I feel, very late in life lah. Just understanding the when it comes to dating, the female and male dynamics are very different, right?
Yeah.
But for you, like, what was the biggest leap, so to speak, in understanding like differences there?
I think in some sense, talking to some close friends, and also reading lah. And as much as people think we might think we are creeps, reading about it, it's almost like we do research for But looking back, I don't think I ever used it to be creepy about it.
Yeah.
But it was very eye-opening in terms of if you treat relationships as like something scientific and all, or something that it has literature written about it that makes you think about it. I think that actually I learned a lot.
And it's less about being a successful pickup artist or anything, but more about just learning how to manage your own emotions when it comes to dating and all. And I realize that there's still a lot of men, even our age, who have trouble regulating some of those emotions as well. Right?
And going through relationships, which is why that whole old school thing about don't date until you graduate and all that. No, I think having these sort of relationships when you're younger is important, provided that it is a healthy relationship. Just understanding how people interact. And as much as gender equality in certain areas are a big problem because they're not there, the fact of the matter is the way people interact between guys and girls are different. Because of society, because of hardwiring is different. The thing is, the survey also had some calls for what can be done, which is good. I mean, they talked about education, they talked about reforming family policies, transforming workplace cultures. But it also made me think when it comes to policies and all, right? In some way, because the first question to me was yes, the workplace policies and all need to evolve so that there's no gender differences. But the fact of the matter is, even Singapore, paternity and maternity are different lengths. Of course, the child bearer goes through so much insane of an experience physiologically. But I think there are some countries also that have kind of equal. And I don't know whether that's one of those things that do we need to trend towards that? Because if we can accept that there are different amounts of recovery required for paternity versus maternity, because one thing was also the roles at home, right? And we talked earlier about how even the 18 and 24 believe that childcare, family care should be more towards the woman. If it starts off with paternity and maternity, does that need to evolve? So I don't know.
So you're on more paternity leave for men. The singles have something to say about that, Harish.
No, I'm just saying from a policy level, how to even think about these kind of things and whether there can be a perfect policy. Because it also did show that, let's say, if you're higher income, chances are you are more likely to agree that the roles at home should be more traditional, that the woman should bear more of the responsibility of child rearing and taking care of the household. I know, anecdotally through friends, there are some relationships I see that, or people I know, where there is one earner, more often than not the man, and I look at the dynamic between them, it's very different. And I mean, for them it works. For them it works. So it's no surprise that for higher income earners, there's that higher expectation.
That's true.
Not saying it's wrong or right, but that stood out also.
And it's not all the same across, even within the same demographic of people, right? Like even within a close circle of friends, they all have very, very different ways of bringing up children and different attitudes towards the gender roles at home. And if anything, I've learned, it's very hard we can't really judge other parents based on that, right? Because there's a lot of different factors as to why that works for them, right?
Then there was also something about sexual activity. Whereas 1 in 3 men also believe that men cannot stop sexual activity after a woman retracts her consent. That one also was But I think that tends to skew higher amongst the widowed, the divorced, and single men. I would imagine if you're not in a long-term relationship, married, where it should be quite clear that, I found that weird if you're in a long-term relationship and married and 1 in 3 men think that, just because you stopped, then doesn't mean I stop. Unless part of it is also the solo,
the solo.
Without going into detail, they talk about sexual activity, right? They never define it, right?
True.
They never define it. So I mean, was that surprising for you?
Yeah, it was surprising. But again, I think some of these results all are very surprising because, while it seems that over the years, men have men have kind of progressed or become more modern in the way they think about things, but it seems to be quite uneven across different demographics, right? And some of the things that you expect, like young people being more liberal about everything, doesn't seem to hold true. Or even like you said, the higher income or even higher educated, that they will be more liberal minded about,
or more progressive.
About gender roles. Or that actually the reverse is true, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, if anything, I think this survey brings up interesting points that hopefully also can complement, like, I think the Men Too movement is also commissioning a survey about masculinity as well, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll see what results come out there as well.
But hopefully it's not them trying to out-research each other,
But I think more research is good, right?
Yeah,
more research is good. And I think we can only, I think it's something that we need to talk more about, right? Masculinity and what it means. Because I think Singapore, at the end of the day, we still have a very unique context of national service, right?
Yeah.
Where even, let's say, you spend the first 17 years of a child's life, making sure that you train them to be very progressive minded, to understand consent and all that. After that, you throw them into the army for 2 years. It's just a group of men all coming together.
It's like a literal manosphere.
Yeah, like singles inferno, just men and nobody else, right? And you don't know what happens there, right? And that kind of, so many things, like, what unit you're placed in, what kind of environment, what kind of work you do and all that in the army will determine the kind of man that you come out as after that.
Yeah.
And I think in Singapore, it's a very unique experience that you can't find in a lot of other places. And that affects how the men in Singapore also view their role in society.
So it cannot be our boys to men anymore. It's our boys to what kind of men? Yeah.
Correct.
It's not binary. You don't go in as a boy, you don't come out as a man. What kind of man is the question?
Yeah.
That should be the next installment. If Jack Neo wants to, like be more inclusive, our boys to what kind of men?
A boy to human, a boy to human. Yeah, you don't define
a boy to person.
Enjoy the person.
A boy to person. A boy to person. But I mean, as much as like we can say some of the questions, it's a lot of weight on one word, not clearly defined, feels like it's still a good research paper to have. Like what you said, more research is always good. And if you trust that the research was done fairly, justifiably, then more research is good. And sometimes people need to realize, oh shit, there are people like that who think like that. Oh, the young people think this way about this.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Interesting.
But the full survey, 29 pages are out. There's another 104-page document with the results of every question, all of which we will put in the show notes.
Yeah, very, very comprehensive.
Yes.
Harish and I just saw something shocking. Now, apparently, over 60% of viewers of this channel are not even officially subscribed. This has to be a mistake, right? We know you're out there because so many have come up to tell us how much the podcast means to them. So, how can we fix this? Do us a big favor and hit that subscribe button. It will mean a lot to us, and it's awesome to know that the 𝗷𝗏𝗏𝗏 community is only getting stronger every day. Thanks for listening. But that's not the only thing that is dividing people right now. There's also another issue that on the streets, literally like on the streets of Singapore, right? That people seem to be quite divided about it, right?
Yeah.
And what is this?
It is a dance group from Changsha, China.
Yeah.
That went viral for doing almost like a guerrilla style flash mob dance thing at a Chinatown restaurant. The thing is, they were wearing kebayas, and the movements they did, though very impressive physically, were, thrusting of groins and opening of legs.
Kicking in the air.
Yeah. And it went even more viral because Alvin Oon, who is the founder of a Peranakan music group, posted something on Facebook kind of saying that it's a disgrace for people to dance like that using the kebaya.
Yeah.
Which is a heritage. It's part of the UNESCO World Heritage, I think.
Yeah.
And it's a very traditional, very respected piece of clothing.
Yeah.
What made you want to talk about this, man?
I thought it's an interesting debate, right? And this is not the first. They're not the first dance troupe with very interesting dancers to come to Singapore and do these viral dances on the street. There was the Japanese girl group, Avant-Garde. they wear the Japanese school uniforms, and then they do quite funny, quite peculiar dance moves on the streets of Singapore and all, and they even performed it and all. But I didn't see anybody complaining about what they did, right? And I'm wondering, is it just because of what they were wearing that they stuck to what was acceptable from their culture, from Japanese culture, which is like the school uniforms? And then this one, I mean, this group, actually, if you go to watch their videos, typically they just wear these auntie pajamas, right?
Yeah.
In most of their dances, everywhere they do around the world. And the dances they do are quite standardized. They have this whole, the shtick or the whole sequence they do is like someone feeds them, like a random passerby feeds them something, and then after that, the lead dancer turns around and after that leads a group of people to do that dance, which has very, very vigorous kicks and everything.
Yeah.
So is it really just down to what they're wearing that makes it feel like vulgar and all? Because the dance, I mean, it's quite funny, it's quite peculiar and all. But I would say, yeah, there are other dance groups that also do quite funny, peculiar moves around Singapore, but haven't faced this kind of backlash.
Yeah.
Or is it because of, the nationality of the dancers that, one group's from like Japan and like sophisticated and interesting, but the other group is like dance troupe from China, right? And that brings on those bigger questions of is it like the anger being directed at a certain country rather than at the people?
So did you see this video when it was going viral or only when there was this backlash?
I actually saw on social media clips of this group dancing, and they were dancing in like random malls and stuff like that in their auntie pajamas, not Kebaya. And I was just like, it just looked very peculiar. I thought they were doing like a thriller flash mob or something, but there was something quite hypnotic about watching them do it also, right? So I already had noticed them before, and I didn't realize that they were going to do one in Sarawak.
But over the past few days, yeah, I saw it also, and I did rewatch it a lot to figure out how they're doing this move.
Yeah. It's damn vigorous.
It's damn vigorous, and they're damn into it,
Yeah.
So apparently, also the restaurant confirmed that they did dine at their Chinatown outlet, and this is 𝗁𝗍𝗍𝗶𝗀, that the visit was part of the dance team's personal travel and content creation activities, because it wasn't just like passers-by filming. It seemed like there's a small crew with lights and all filming them. The restaurant did not hire or commission the troupe to perform, had not arranged for the dancers to film there, and had not paid them any performance fees, nor were they involved in planning or choreographing the content. And the restaurant did reflect on its on-site management and recognize the need to give greater consideration to other diners, so it apologized for the discomfort and inconvenience caused. So they really, really apologized. They said that they will strengthen advanced comms, on-site management for larger filming activities, and for behavior that could affect other customers. So they're very defensive, but it does sound like they were not involved in the planning. So then the big question is like, was it wrong for them to not just dance like that, but dance like that in a kebaya? I mean, just to start off with, I think if they're doing that in a restaurant, taking aside what they're wearing and what they're dancing, I think got no issues for me. When it comes to their movements and all, I don't know, like it's an engaging watch. And if you're dining at a restaurant and this kind of stuff happens, can you complain to the restaurant that it disturbed your dining experience? I don't know. That feels a bit odd.
So let's say that, not about the kebaya. You're saying that even just the fact that they're dancing in an eatery and all that is disruptive, is it?
No, I'm saying it's not.
It's not.
I'm saying okay, because at the end of the day, I do wish for a more vibrant, F&B scene, vibrant nightlife. What they did, is it really gesticulating or showing too much skin and all? It's a dance. I tried looking up, is this a traditional dance or something? It doesn't seem like it. It's choreographed by the lead choreographer, I guess, who goes by Super Johnny Baby. I mean, if this kind of stuff happens, it just makes the fabric of F&B a bit more interesting.
Because, I mean, ultimately, a lot of times when people go to restaurants like 𝗬𝗲 and all that, part of the things they enjoy are those performances or live singing and all that the staff do there, right? So this one is, it's a bunch of people who are, quite popular on social media coming to Singapore to create content, and then, they do it seemingly quite organically in the restaurant. So I don't think in particular there was vulgar or something. I mean, they were covered up, right? They were mostly covered up with pajamas and everything. So I didn't understand why some people see it necessarily as vulgar, lah, right?
Mm.
But does it change when they wear something like the sarong kebaya, which, as you mentioned, is interestingly is it's part of an intangible cultural heritage recognized by UNESCO, but it's a joint cultural heritage of like a bunch of different countries like Brunei, Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, and Thailand. So they all applied for it together, the kebaya, to be intangible cultural heritage of humanity, which also means that no one country or culture has, can say that this is exclusively my culture, and it's cultural appropriation for you to wear the kebaya and everything between the 5 or 6 countries that applied for this.
But it's not exclusive to each of the 5 or 6, but I think they have more claim than, like, say, Venezuela or something.
Of course. Yeah. But I'm saying that even in the whole intangible cultural heritage thing, there is an acceptance that this kebaya culture extends to more than just one particular group of people, and it's a shared cultural heritage of a lot of people, right? And no one person or one culture is an authority or of what the kebaya means to people.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, oh, then why is it now when someone else wears it and all that, it becomes like, I mean, the words are very angry, right? Saying like this disgusting, disgraceful, and disrespectful, right? Because the kebaya has been adapted for a lot of different cultures, and it has also been modernized, and people wear it even to
Singapore Airlines.
More formal settings as well. So is there really cultural appropriation going on here?
I mean, I think the cultural appropriation, then it becomes, whose culture is it? I think it is a culture shared by not everyone. Okay? And as long as there's a group that you can say, okay, this is part of your culture, I think I can understand that. And I can understand if certain people are more angered by it than others. So I'm thinking about it like specific. So I think we agreed that if you're wearing your auntie pajamas, cool. Dance
cool.
away.
Do it everywhere.
Yeah. I do think that if they wear the kebaya, there is a bit of difference. In the sense that, how you say, because the kebaya, it is very respected. It is very, honored. So when you use it for a dance like this, I understand why people who are of that heritage, of who are Peranakan, or who really say it's not cool that they do it this way. Yeah, I think to me there's a difference.
But you would be offended if you were.
No, I was just thinking let's say sari. Or like but I wouldn't say I'm like that in tune or passionate about my own culture. I think I care more about like the Singaporeanness of who we are. I don't know. Like I would say, maybe it just feels like they're doing it just as another costume that is meant to be local or meant to resonate with the locals without really maybe understanding the context of it. So it felt like it's more like a prop or like something that, if we wear this, then we're doing it in Singapore, so we wear something that, Singaporeans, like a traditional costume. Yeah, for you?
Some people did bring up, at least a comment or two did bring up that, aren't they also helping to bring visibility to the kebaya? And, like, as much as we think like, it's so ubiquitous in Singapore, everyone knows what a kebaya is. I'm sure a lot of people in the West or even China also have never seen it before, right? And the fact that this dance group kind of adapted it and are wearing it as part of their performance without desecrating it, right? They're not tearing it up. They're not doing anything destructive to it. They're wearing it.
They might tear it at certain areas.
Certain areas, right? Yeah. But are they like? Is it really so insulting what they do? They are doing a dance that seems to originate from their own in China, their own part of China, Yunnan, from what I understand, because even Alvin Oon's post here saying that, if you are. The dancers also stage some martial arts routines, and if they wanted to do that, they should be wearing Chinese kung fu costumes, right? So I was like, I'm not sure about that, Then that means if you watch John Wick doing kung fu or that, then it's like, is that very should he be wearing something more appropriate. Well, it's also that's where I'm like, when we start saying that policing certain things of what people can or cannot wear and all, that's where to me it starts getting a bit like we're going down that road of like policing what other people can or cannot do, and I mean, I don't want to go there, but some people saying, "Oh, you're bringing Western woke culture here also and all that, right? Getting cultural appropriation and all." But sometimes it's just a matter of like appreciating people's culture and adapting it to your own.
Then maybe it's like, how is this really appreciating it? And I will say, and this is something that I've slowly realized or caught myself. I think now maybe it's because of the fucking onslaught of AI, or like how AI generally, it sees all human creation as things to consume to build this artificial intelligence. I find myself gravitating more towards, okay, we need to protect what is there that is human created, that is human respected, and that defines the fabric of what it means to be human.
Yeah.
And to me, culture is becoming more and more important. And this almost feels like, if you're saying that, okay, yes, anyone can use this for anything, it's kind of like that, losing the special sauce. And maybe I'm veering towards, maybe there needs to be more lines that are drawn to identify these things. Because if everything just becomes homogenous, then it feels like robotic. So that's something that I'm realizing personally.
So you're saying that this is homogenizing, like the Kebaya?
I mean, in some way it is. So it's confusing for me, because I also don't want to be a culture where, okay, just because you're not of this culture, you cannot do this.
Yeah.
Like if I ever see you wearing like that male costume, I'm like, Terrence, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You go and learn Hindi first before you wear it. No lah.
Yeah.
But there's a way you can wear it. If you come to me and gyrate in my face, then I'm like, okay, can you just not do that? So I think there are lines there. It's not that black and white. But I think maybe it's just feeling more like, okay, we don't want to lose what makes certain things special that is respected by a certain group. I'm not fully formed on that yet, but looking at this, I'm like, to me there's a difference, and I don't quite know yet how to articulate it between
but they were not,
pajamas.
They were not gyrating in like faces and everything.
They were not lah.
It was very vigorous.
Yeah.
There was a lot of high kicking in the air. But that is actually, those are actual dance moves, right?
Yeah.
It might not be the kind of dance moves that we typically in a more traditional way enjoy watching,
or something.
Yeah, like it's not the traditional elegant kind of dance moves, but they are vigorous dance moves that are also come from their own culture, right? So we're saying that they cannot do those dance moves because we find them vulgar and all that,
Yeah, so I guess that's where it gets a little tricky because maybe it's also that, okay, it feels like they're just using it as a prop, as a costume. But I also don't know how then, like, for someone to wear something, they must show an appreciation of the culture. That's tough.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is, I don't know whether you saw, like 2 weeks ago, there was the Miss Universe Canada pageant.
No, I didn't.
And there was...
I don't usually watch Miss Universe that much.
Fuck you, okay. I'm just saying, I came up with the news, okay? I think pageants are dumb. Let me put it out there, okay?
So that's to put on the record. You couldn't find the Aware. You couldn't find the article about Aware's survey on gender attitudes, but you could find an article about Miss Universe.
I heard it on a BBC podcast that was informing me about the world, okay? Because there is an important point that was discussed. It's not about a pageant, okay? It's just during that one segment where they were supposed to wear indigenous dresses. There were a few contestants that wore the Native American headdress.
Yeah.
And they got a lot of backlash for it. And I was listening to people who are of the indigenous people there, and they explain like those sort of headdresses are worn during very sacred events in their culture. And for these people to almost like buy it offline and wear kind of like very commercialized versions of it, that's not right, especially for a pageant.
Yeah.
And to me, it was very clear why, okay, that's not cool. Because this is meant for the chieftain or like the head of the community, So you wear it there, you're almost trivializing it. So in some way, this kind of like is a much more lower level of that. Yeah. And then it becomes, if it's used during very sacred ceremonies or death or funeral, can anybody just use that? And I would say, I don't think so. Then it becomes, where's the line? And I don't know that line. But yeah, you should check it out, Terence. It's a lot of intelligent articles written about, not the pageant, about the argument around this headdress. And I can see people saying, no, but the headdress, it's available for wear, and like anybody should be able to wear it. You see it in movies and all.
Yeah.
So that's why I think got difference.
Maybe. But yeah, I'm trying to wrap my head around this now, right? Like where I think he's identified it as very insulting to the Peranakan culture. And he's saying that, I mean, I think he answered what I was asking just now, where he thinks that the elegant sarong kebaya, it's steeped in heritage and refinement, but being used in such a way in brash and unruly movements, it has been abused, right? Yeah, so that's, I'm trying to reconcile all that as well, because in some way that, they come here and they recognize that Singapore has its own unique culture, and one of it is the sarong kebaya, and then they wear it to sort of show, hey, we're here in Singapore, we celebrate. And you go to the Instagram, Super Johnny Baby's Instagram, they film a lot of content, and they say that, we're happy to be in Singapore and everything. Do we turn around and say, this is disgusting, please don't do this, lah? That's where I'm like, where that, I mean, the Native American headdress, I think there is probably some religious elements to it as well, right? In terms of their tribes and who gets to wear the headdress and things like that. But for the kebaya, I don't know. It's still, I'm still trying to figure that part out, lah. So like, okay, then there's instance, Singapore Airlines, the kebaya, right? Sometimes I'm sure you've been to Halloween parties and all that, where people wear the Singapore Airlines kebaya as a cultural appropriation.
Okay, actually, I've never seen it at a Halloween party where it's like skimpy and all. I've seen it
not
being
a skimpy
sold,
lah, but they just wear it, just as a Halloween thing.
But that's why I feel you can wear something and almost kind of honor it, or you can wear something and like, just how you say, not say disrespect it, but do the opposite lah. Like trivialize it lah, almost. Yeah.
So you think this one's trivializing it lah?
I think a bit lah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
A bit more conservative in the way of seeing it lah.
Yeah. Also because I'm also thinking, because it's a recent thing where I find myself even like being open to like, hey, like you want to buy something, you buy something handmade. I'm gravitating towards more stuff. Of course, it's more expensive lah. Not to say I'll buy it, but last time I'll be like, if I can just get it online, I will. But maybe it's just internally, I feel we need to hold on to human-made stuff, culture, the soul of what it means to be human lah. And this one, it's got soul lah, Terence.
Yeah, but no, that's the thing lah. But it's very human lah. The movements are vigorous and very human, and requires coordination and in some ways some grace lah, right? To be able to do what they do. It is
athleticism.
It's not ballet, but it's still not easy to do moves like that and coordinate, and how much practice there was.
So then maybe it's a movement. So would you say there are some movements that if they were to do in a kebaya would be like, hey, okay, don't do those sort of movements?
I think like what you say, if I'm like gyrating or thrusting in someone's face,
okay.
I would say that.
So then maybe then that's a fair point. That their movements, I did say, if they weren't wearing the kebaya, it's not gross or how you say offensive to me.
Yeah.
Then the kebaya, if it's not offensive, then what's the deal? Maybe it's the movement lah. Because was this really disrespectful? I mean, that's why it's not clear lah.
Yeah. I don't know. I still find like, wow,
policing like that.
No, I still can't. I find it hard to say that their movements were vulgar or like unruly. I mean, I look at it, I'm like, wow, I couldn't do that. You give me 1 week to practice, I also couldn't do what they do. They must have thought about it. They must have sourced, and thought like, okay, how do we reflect the Singapore unique culture from Singapore and all that? And then I look a little bit into the history of the sarong kebaya, and I realized, it is something that every like the different countries, the cultures adapt to their personal settings. And I do. When someone is so like coming out and so like violently saying that this is a mockery of our culture, I think that's why I do get a bit like, is it really? And the fact that Singapore is an immigrant culture and all that, and we assimilate a lot of different cultures into our fabric, and it's changing even as we speak, right? Yeah, like who really polices these things, lor?
But I think
Who
that
gets
sort
to
of
police these
statements,
things?
that sort of statements also, I feel like, yeah, just because we are in a country that integrates and assimilates a lot of cultures, you can do it in different ways, lah.
Correct,
So
correct.
yeah. So I mean, I guess the bigger thing is whether these movements are brash and unruly, lah. Can you imagine the next SIA safety video? They're going down the aisles like this. Then we know, okay, I guess they're cool with it because it's perfectly suited to a safety video.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, so I think it's what people think about, like, okay, like, how is this, like, what do you feel about this? And like what you said, are the movements really brash or unruly? If there are some movements that I think universally people can agree are a bit crass, then it's a different thing. Like. In this case, if it's even the least bit subjective, then yeah, like, it's not binary anymore. Like.
So for you is if can ban this group.
No, you know what would be great if like they brought on a Peranakan tour.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be great because there's always a way to, you know, like, for learn more about other cultures, and this is not the end for them.
It's not the end for them. Maybe they did go for Peranakan tour and they really liked it and they like, oh, let's wear these costumes and do the dance and show a little bit of what Singapore culture is like. But yeah, wow, it's another division in Singapore society, as you can see. Seems it's coming up more and more.
Everyone is divided about everything.
Yeah.
But
maybe somewhere less divisive is our comment section on so what is your one Shiok comment?
Wait, let me oh yeah, so one Shiok comment that resulted from like private conversation we had with a creator of physical toys on Instagram. So Fold in the Cheese commented on Reddit, not me listening to 𝗟𝗲𝗏𝗀𝗀 while noticing this post from birdhandtoys.asia, whom I found out from 𝗟𝗏𝗏𝗏 previously. Amazing work. Because I think we gave a shout out last time to this creator of action figurines in Singapore, birdhandtoys.asia, who makes pretty awesome figurines of personalities, not just Singapore, but internationally as well. I guess not for commercial, not for retail sale in the masses, but just as a how you say it, souvenir. And we found out from them that they actually made one of us.
Yeah.
Which is fucking insane.
Yeah.
And he sent us, he or she sent us a picture.
Yeah.
And it blew our whole team away.
Yeah.
We are in touch with the creator. It's amazing. Hopefully we can feature it at some point on this podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, and the fact that someone else picked it up, super cool, man.
Yeah.
I
I remember recommending his stuff as one Shiok Thing early on. And then after that, being even more shocked when it was like, oh, it's a Singaporean based in Australia doing this. And now, seeing us being customized that way.
Wow, it is insane. It's insane. Really, really appreciative. And I mean, we can definitely chat more.
And I definitely discovered the account organically because I was looking up for like, oh, are there people who customize toys for, like more niche kind of like TV shows or things like that. And that's how I came across a bunch of different accounts that do this, and Birdhand Toys was one of them.
Yeah. It was it's crazy.
Yeah.
Awesome. But what about your one Shiok thing?
One Shiok comment is there's as much as we talk about a lot of divisions in our comment section about the topics of singles versus married, right? There are some quite more positive comments where people on YouTube have been sort of saying it's that a bit more measured in what they're saying, like Red Wings 1974 saying the measures are good for parents, but parents also need to understand that singles need a break from work once in a while, right? Short leave should be okay, but long leave would be tough on everyone who covers. There's one of just quite a number of also more, I would say, more measured like comments about it, rather than just pitting singles versus married versus married with kids and things like that. So I appreciate that there are still people who think about the 𝗟𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 in that situation as well.
And that's on Reddit.
It's on YouTube actually.
Oh, YouTube. Yeah. Okay. Cool. And what about your one Shiok thing?
My one Shiok thing is actually a recent Economist interview that is Yuval Noah Harari. He talks about AI. And what's interesting is that it's almost, I think what happened was that Economist does these interviews and then they release snippets of them online.
Like Elon Musk, right?
Yeah, like Elon Musk. But a lot of people were like clamoring for them to release this full interview with Yuval Noah Harari, which initially I think was meant to be only for subscribers. And then the Economist actually finally they decided, okay, yes, we'll release this full one. And usually these are behind a paywall, but we'll do it for this one. And I'm glad they did, because there was a fantastic discussion about AI, and he's got very good answers to, or he points out the inconsistencies in a lot of what Elon Musk also said in his interview with The Economist about AI and all that. So yeah, I urge anyone who has is wondering what all the buzz is about. Why are people fearing AI so much? I think he manages to explain a lot of things that make you really think about the context of our human beings' relationships with AI.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow, awesome.
So it's a very, very good interview, and I encourage everyone to go check it out.
Oh, great. So you saw the clips first, and then...
Okay. And he made very good points about about when do you determine that AI is sentient or conscious, and why it's starting to get into very dangerous territory now in the way we think of it in our relationship with AI. Yeah. And the analogies to, our relationships with our pets and things like that.
Oh, that's cool. Definitely bookmarked. Okay, cool. My one Shiok thing is also something I saw on YouTube. There's this channel called Wanderlust. Always make fun of people who use the term Wanderlust, WONDERLUST. But it's basically a family living in Singapore.
Yeah.
They're not from Singapore, and it's the mom and her daughter just exploring things around Singapore. So like the latest video, the Turtle Museum is back, but what else can you do in Khatib? And then Singapore is always changing. Iconic Tan Boon Liat building set to be pulled down. So yes, it's another one of those creators who didn't grow up in Singapore, has come and just exploring.
Yeah.
But actually quite nice videos like family with her daughter and all, just exploring things like Wessex Estate and it's places that I myself haven't seen.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, okay, that's nice. It's always nice to see your own country through an outsider's perspective. And feels like just feel good content.
Yeah.
Yeah,
cool.
so kudos to Wanderlust.
Yeah, I think I've seen some of the stuff pop up.
Oh, you have?
Feed, but I've not. I think I've watched a couple, yeah.
Oh,
but
okay.
Interesting, yeah.
But yeah, cool. Another week done.
Yeah.
We actually have an interesting interview coming out on Monday.
Yeah. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Again, like stemming from the NDR, right? The stuff
related.
Yeah,
with someone very interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks so much for listening. Big shout out to our equipment sponsor, Nikon, for making the picture crisp. And we'll talk to you all very soon.
Before you go, we need your help. You probably know that most news outlets only cover one side, and it's dividing all of us. But we refuse to do that because every episode, we try to understand both sides of important global news, and especially the unpopular side. But it's not easy. We're a small team up against big media and big tech algorithms. So I'm asking for a favor. If you're not subscribed yet, it'll mean a lot to us if you could hit subscribe here, because that one click will really help us continue improving our episodes while keeping them free for you. Thank you so much.